Hey guys, it's Dani. Today I'm going to walk you through making a marinara sauce. So in French cooking there are 5 mother sauces, and a mother sauce is essentially like a base for every other sauce that we make. And tomato is one of those. So we're just going to make a simple basic marinara sauce. We are doing a veggie lasagna for our class this Thursday. And I kept looking at labels and I asked Bridget, is this easy to make? And she said, yeah. So here we are making it today. Some of the labels and stuff I found have tons of extra added stuff in it, lots of sugar, and I'd rather just learn how to make it from scratch. So I'm learning with you, bear with me. Here we go. So I have a pan over medium heat, and I have a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil in that pan heating up. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut our onion. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna cut off both ends of the onion. And a good thing to know is you can kind of like put your nails into something when you're cutting. 1, it keeps your fingertips away, and 2, if you do cut yourself, you're just gonna graze your knuckle, which won't hurt as bad as losing a fingertip. Safety, that's the name of the game. Once you cut the 2 ends off, it's really easy then to just peel this layer of skin off. I say that as I'm gonna struggle, but it's okay, we're all learning here. And for this guy, we're going to finely chop it. So I'm gonna cut it in half. Now I have my 2 halves down, and I'm just going to chop away. First into strips, and then I'm gonna turn the strips and I'm going to dice. So now that I have this awkward concoction and all the slices like this, I'm just gonna take it as a whole in my hand and kind of turn it the other way. So lifting it up, you have all these slices, and now you're just going to chop them. It's not the prettiest, that's okay. Because 1, we're learning, and 2, we're cooking it, and we're gonna eat it anyways. Onions also always make me cry. Unless you have contacts in, I feel like that's like a super shield. So we're gonna turn our onion again, chop the other way. Sometimes when I'm chopping, I will put my hand up here on the knife and kind of rock back and forth with this. But I make sure I keep my fingers up so they're not in the way of the blade, and I'm not going to get a surprise or a knife bite. Okay. So then we're going to collect all of our pieces and we're going to add them into our oil. It is over medium heat, so you will kind of get a little spit up from it. Spit up, like a child. You'll just get a reaction from the oil when the onions hit the pan. It's gonna sizzle a little. Well, so we're gonna leave this going for about 8 to 10 minutes until they are super soft. Going to grab a wooden spoon. We're big fans of wooden spoons. You can use it for everything. Metal spoons tend to rip off the coating of your pans. So silicone and wood or plastic are our go-tos. I actually had a few metal spoons I used, and once we started doing this, I stopped because I learned that they hurt my pans, and that's why my pans were like awkwardly breaking. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our cloves of onion ready. So we're going to mince them, which whenever I think of mince, I just think of like mini dicing. So a really cool way Bridget taught me to kind of unpeel a clove is you're gonna put it on the pan and you're going to push, like take the flat part of your knife. Oh, there's still onion there. Get in there. You're going to put this flat part of your knife down onto and push. So you kind of hear like a crunch. And literally, it's like its jacket just fell right off. So I always do that just to press them down, make it a little easier to chop. It flattens them a bit. And then another fun trick. So we're just going to start slowly slicing and dicing. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. I did not know this until a few weeks ago, but salt helps kind of break the onion down. So we're going to add a pinch of salt. A pinch of salt is 1/8 of a teaspoon. My eyes are super watery from these onions right now. I'm not crying. It's okay. So then you just keep slicing, but the salt kind of breaks down that garlic and absorbs it and makes it a little easier to chop. And it brings out more flavor. So my goal right now is just to get these pieces of garlic as small as possible. So after about 8 to 10 minutes of our onions roasting or cooking and getting super soft, this will be our next step. We might as well just get it ready. When I first started taking these, classes, when Bridget and I first started working together, anytime she would cut something, I would just like stare at her in amusement because her hands were so freaking fast. And I kept like asking her if there were like YouTube videos or things I could watch to like learn. And she was like, no, really, you just have to like just cut stuff. So I will say it's definitely helped with my knife confidence and my knife skills. So like I said, you always kind of keep your nails on something. So a blade's not going to take your finger off. It might graze your knuckle, but that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's better than a fingertip. I'm going to go ahead and stir our onions. They are getting beautiful and translucent. So this is what we're looking for. And then this recipe also, we have like 2 more steps. And then if you want to set this in a crock pot just to hang out for a few hours, you can totally do that. I'm going to keep mine on the stove since I'm home for a few more hours today. And I love the smell of this cooking. So it just like, it's like a natural candle, you know? So our onions are going. Now we have our 4 cloves of garlic. And we are going to add that into our pot. And this fresh marinara sauce, once you make it, if you put it in a container with a lid and kind of seal it, it'll be good for it'll be good for about a week in your fridge. If you want to freeze it, it'll last for 3 months in your freezer. So my guess is this is going to make more than we need for our class on Tuesday, so I'll have some extra that after our class, not on Tuesday, today's Tuesday. After our class on Thursday, I'll be able to put some in my freezer or use it for another meal. So we're just going to keep letting these guys cook. I'm about to rinse my hands. Okay, and as that's going, our next step is to add in our basil. It says 2 sprigs of basil. If you don't have fresh basil, basil paste is a really good substitute. It tends to be a little more powerful because it's concentrated, so that makes sense. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of basil, maybe. They like make these childproof. Well, once I can get into my basil tube, I'm gonna do that. I did it! Yay me! Okay, so we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of basil. So I'm just gonna kind of prep that and get that ready to go. And I'm not tightly packing it. You can see I'm just lightly packing it. If you do have 2 like mint leaves, 2 sprigs are like the branches. So 2 of those, and you're gonna peel the leaves off and then dice them, slice them, mince them, get them tiny, and then we're adding it back into this pot. Thanks, guys. Give them 1 more minute before we add in our basil. And you guys, so far this has taken 10 minutes, and we probably have like 3 more minutes left of things to do, which is really nice that this could take like 15 minutes to make, and then it does sit for about an hour on the stovetop, or about 3 hours on low in a crock pot. That gives you time to do other stuff, and then you have like homemade marinara, which is so good. So we're gonna add our 2 teaspoons of basil paste, or 2 sprigs of basil. Let's stir that in. That smells so good. I am turning my oven down. I had it at 4, now I have it about like a 2. Never underestimate the smell of onions and garlic. It smells freaking amazing. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to add 2 cans of whole tomatoes. We wanna kind of crush these with our hands as they go in. So I'm gonna use one of my hands. First I'm gonna wash them, and then I'm gonna use one of my hands as like a strainer, and kind of just squeeze it into the pan. Hand washing, super important. So I'm just gonna take my hand and just kind of make like a cup like that. And we're just gonna pour the tomatoes through. And as they come in, I'm just gonna like kind of squeeze them. Ooh, that one just popped right out of the, that one popped out of my hand. So we do want this sauce to be smooth-ish. If you like chunky sauce, this is where you get to shine, man. You get to make this whatever you'd like it to be. So I am using stewed tomatoes. I couldn't find cans of whole tomatoes at Aldi, so I just went with stewed tomatoes. And I also am dumping all the juice from this can into the pan. So we're not draining them or straining them beforehand. We're just putting everything from this can into the pan. It's a real pan-pan situation. And really, this is just breaking up the tomatoes. So 1, it helps everything kind of cook a little faster and marinate all those flavors together. And 2, it's going to be less work for us later if we want a really smooth sauce. Cool. Almost done with my second can. I am so excited to taste how this sauce tastes. I'm so excited to learn how to make veggie lasagna too. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up for a class on Thursday. Everything in our classes is virtual. So we'll send you the grocery list, and then the morning of we'll send you the recipe cards, a link to the Zoom class, and we are doing drink pairings with every class, which is a really fun thing to do. So you have that as well. I have like this baby horn, whatever, it's life. This is my life. So we're gonna stir the tomatoes in with our onion and garlic and basil. Put the pan down to simmer. So I have mine at a 2. We're going to add a teaspoon of sugar. I use my teaspoon for basil, so I'm going to rinse it real fast so I don't get basil in my sugar. Teaspoon of sugar. And this really just brings a little sweetness to it and helps the flavors kind of marry, as they say. We're gonna add a pinch of salt. So a pinch of salt is 1/8 teaspoon, or I just grab it with your fingers and pinch. And then we're gonna add some pepper as well. I'm adding a few cracks. And we're just gonna stir this together. And we're just gonna let this sit and simmer for about an hour. You're gonna stir occasionally. If crock pot is your way to go, before you add the tomatoes, you can put the onion, the garlic, the basil into a crock pot, add the tomatoes to that, add your salt, pepper, and sugar to the crock pot, and just leave it on, stir it up and then leave it on low for about 3 hours. I'm super excited to see how this turns out. I'm super excited to see you if you're joining us for class on Thursday. Thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.